And good morning, everybody, and welcome to episode 11 of the Saturday Morning Tailgate podcast right here on the Grid Network via YouTube and on X. I am Bryson Carver. I'm joined by my good friends, although I maybe good friend is a bit strong for this particular Saturday. Tim Barnard with Florida Gators and Arthur Hurst. Arthur, say what you need to say, and then I want to get to Tim. What's up, Arthur?
No, I don't have anything to say. Hello, good evening, hello. But yeah, y'all go ahead. I'm gonna sit back and just let y'all do y'all thing.
Just for the record, by the way, we're pre-recording this on Friday night, so unfortunately we won't be able to get to anybody's comments. But I see, this is a very special episode of the Saturday Morning Tailgate, Tim Barnard, because for the first time we've got a matchup between one of our three teams that features a rivalry that isn't terribly old but has a lot of history. My VOLS, your Gators. How you feeling about this Saturday night?
Listen, we played so much better against Ole Miss than we have all season. So I'm actually okay with it. But to sit there and say that this rivalry isn't old, no, dude, we've been playing since the friggin' 30s. Yeah, has it been? It's been more consistent since I think in the late 70s, early 80s. Yeah. But even still, dude, come on. This is a rival. Well, I shouldn't say a rivalry. We kind of own your ass. But
as of late, not really, but okay.
Well, hey, you know what Steve Spurrier used to say? You can't spell citrus without UT.
See, here we go. We're already just revving it back up, ladies and gentlemen. We're revving it back up. This is why I'm really bummed that this rivalry is not going to continue annually after this year. It's a real bummer. Listen, I talked about it yesterday on my show, and I'll talk about it in the Ball View later. The fact that, Tennessee, Bama, third Saturday, October, that goes back, a long, long time. But Vanderbilt, pretty one-sided. Kentucky, one-sided. You got your, is that your Lane Kiffin visor? Is that what we're trying to do here?
Yeah, Lane Kiffin, Steve Spurrier, however you want to frame it.
Oh, my goodness. This is going to be an unbelievable show tonight. We're going to have a lot of fun with this tonight, folks. Again, chime in the comment section. Share links with everybody. Oh, no, now you're going backwards. Okay. I see.
You can't see this beautiful face with this on. Come on now. You got to.
That's true. I couldn't see her eyes there. They weren't, it's piercing through the camera here, Tim. All right, so let's go and get into basically how we're going to be leading the show, or have been and will continue to, is talking about the college football playoff committee coming out with their new rankings. So we'll show you what the bracket looks like this week. So you've got Ohio State at number 1, followed by Indiana, A&M, and Georgia taking Alabama's spot, the number 4 spot. And then as far as the seeding goes, it goes from 5 to 12. Texas Tech, Ole Miss, Oregon, Oklahoma, Notre Dame, Alabama, Miami, and then Tulane as the group of 5 team. The first 2 teams out will be BYU and Utah in this scenario. So again, I'll ask you, Tim, the same question that we've been doing, throughout the last few weeks. Do you think the committee got their rankings right this week?
They're never going to get it right. I could just say that right now. First and foremost, I loved how everybody from ESPN to Josh Pate to all the college football people were talking this past week after these were released about how are you just going to let Tulane, a group of 5 school in there, and just gift them a spot, because that's all it is. You're just gifting them a spot. And what was it that I was talking about last week? What was I not ahead of the curve saying that you either put the best of the best in there, or you make this a March Madness style, which is just absurd, where you're just giving teams like Tulane, like what possibly could be Navy. No one talks about Navy being 8-2 right now and winning the American Conference. But even, for the most part, Miami is sitting there as the ACC champion, but they don't look great. And yet, when you're talking about whether they got it right or not, well, it is kind of interesting, because you have so many 2-loss schools right now. Oklahoma, Notre Dame, Alabama, Utah, Miami, Vanderbilt, USC, Michigan, Virginia, Houston, Tulane, Navy, San Diego State, UNLV. Now, the last 2 schools, obviously not going to get in there. I think we all know that. But Navy's 8-2 right now. If they win out, and hell, if they just beat Memphis next week, then they're going to be sitting pretty. I don't think it even matters what they do against Army 2 weeks from then. But you have Notre Dame at 9. You have Miami at 13. Okay, what are we going to do about their head-to-head in week 1, where Notre Dame was playing with a freshman quarterback in his first game of his career? And he's just trying to get the feel for things. and that's why they struggled. And not for nothing, Miami only beat them by 3, 4. Like, it wasn't a blowout. And not for nothing, as the weeks have gone on, Notre Dame has looked a hell of a lot better, whereas Miami, not so much. They haven't looked that good. There's a lot going on right now that for a Gator fan right now, and for a lot of schools that aren't probably worried about the college football or looking at the college football with their team, all I want is chaos. All I want is chaos. I want the majority of the SEC schools to win out so that you have 6 teams, I think it is, 6 SEC schools that have 2 losses. They got to figure that out. Then you got to figure out the ACC champion. Then you got to figure out the American champion, the Group of 5 champion. It's total chaos because at the end of the day, like I said, what do you want? Do you want the best of the best? Or are you just trying to appease everybody and try to make this all hunky-dory like sports? People are trying to make sports today with, oh, here's a participation trophy. No, damn it. No, this isn't a participation trophy. This is who's the best. Let's put the best in the playoff. End of story.
I love the fire and the passion. Listen, this is not 4-year-old T-ball going on here. This is college football. This is the SEC, the Big Ten, the AC. I mean, this is college athletics at its finest. And it's funny. You're one of the few people, and I actually kind of agree with you, Tim, that's kind of defending Notre Dame in this whole ordeal. Like, okay, they lose their first 2 games. I mean, you look at the 2 teams they lost to at Miami, as you said, with CJ Carr making his first start, and then a game against Texas A&M. I know A&M made that insane comeback last week, but have you seen the Aggies? They're thus far the highest ranked team in the SEC. So, and then the rest of the way they've looked utterly dominant.
And Notre Dame should have won that game had the refs made the right call.
No question. They absolutely should have won that game. And so your thoughts on this playoff, Arthur, do you think as far as the 12-team rankings, do you think they got it right this week? Does the committee get it right this week?
Dog, as long as this team is on top.
Frozone is back, ladies and gentlemen.
It doesn't get old.
Never gets, and it was Frozen in the perfect position with him pointing to the Ohio State. Okay, we hear you.
That was beautiful.
We got you back. We got you back.
Perfect time.
Oh my goodness! But now, as I was saying, if they got us number 1, of course they got it right, dog. The rest of y'all, listen, y'all have fun with the chaos part. Now, here's what's funny. I'm not gonna lie. This was very funny when Tulane's coach came out and said what he said a few days ago. Yo, as a player, I'm not gonna lie. I'm like, yo, coach, don't say no BS like that. Like, heck yeah. Like, hey, man, look, we playing good. We in the top 25. We have a chance to do something special. Like, don't come out and say, hey, there must be a lot going on for us to be in the – like, no, man, we've been playing well. Do not get up there. But listen, it's just one of those things where, again, it's like we can't believe we're in this position. So I can't believe – exactly. Like, I can't blame him. But at the same time, it's just like, yo, like, come on, man. Like, you got to give your team credit. You got to give yourself credit. Y'all been playing your butts off. Don't come up here we don't want to hear that. We want to say, hell yeah, we have a chance to do something special here. Heck yeah, we belong. Come on. But Tim named all those 2-loss teams. We're going to talk about Texas, about them being 3 losses, and if they're going to be able to get into stuff. This is chaos. Right. And it just goes to show that everything is just so wide open. There's so many really good teams, or there are so many teams that are underperforming. We thought they should have won this game. There are times where they slip here. Texas is one of them. Again, we talked about Notre Dame losing their first 2 games and coming out looking dominant. Alabama started off rough, and then they've been playing dominant. Ty Simpson's in the Heisman race. Kalen DeBoer is looking like he's back in good graces with Roll Tide fans. And then all of a sudden, you go out and you lose to Oklahoma. And it's like, okay, now you're back into the position where it's like, my goodness, like what happened here? And then you had Oklahoma with what they did with John Mateer, and then you lose to Texas. And it's just so much going on in that bottom, in that, what? I want to say like,
6 to 14.
Yeah, 6 to 14 ranges. Like, yo, y'all have fun continuing to beat up on each other, because them top 5, as long as they can stay healthy and just win out and get to their bye week for the first and get to the first bye week of the college football playoff, those top 5 or whatever, they will be perfectly fine. But like we said, it's that middle of the pack where things have just gotten really interesting. And we've got a little bit of football left. We got a little bit of football left. And again, I hate this a little bit because we have Lane Kiffin talks about leaving Ole Miss, possibly going to Florida and stuff like that. And it's just like, dang, dog, we're too late into the year. I wish this was beginning of the season with a team like Ole Miss and we get this over with. Yeah. Right. Instead of it's later in the season, you're having this really good season. You know, yeah, coach, he may leave, he may not, but it's hard when he just doesn't dead it. Like, yo, leave me alone. Quit talking about it. I am the coach of the Ole Miss Rebels. Okay, we can worry about whoever when we get there. Now, like Tim said last week, you leave and take that new job. You got a chance to talk to recruits. You got a chance to hit the portal and all of those things. I perfectly get that. But when we're talking about the mental state of a team and when they're trying to be, especially gearing up for a playoff run, it's got to be tough. And that just adds on to more of the chaos because, hey, if he leaves, we need to make sure we're in a great position to where if he leaves and whoever comes in, we're able to keep it flowing like Lane Kiffin is still here, like we haven't missed a beat. We can't lose no more games because who's to say the confidence and everything of this team walks out of the door with Lane Kiffin? Because you never know if Lane Kiffin is going to take some of those dogs and bring them to wherever he's going to be at next.
Right.
But there's a lot going on.
And I agree with you, Arthur, but here's the thing. The whole having the coach and, get probed or not probed, get poached. And then, having your coach get poached before the college football playoff has nothing to do with the coach or the universities. It has everything to do with the college schedule because you have these early commits. You guys who want to enroll a full semester early, like this upcoming January, you got to get those guys involved. They have to know who their coach is. Plus, you get the transfer portal, the school. It's basically the schedule itself of the school in universities. That's why this is such an issue. And listen, I don't think that we should start earlier in order to accommodate that or start later to accommodate that. No, I think what needs to be done is the NCAA has to go to these universities and somehow figure out shit's got to change. Like it just has to. And they got to figure out a way to adjust the portal, adjust the early enrollees, in order to make this work. But the problem is you have too many moving parts, which is why you're going to have coaches, unless you're at an Ohio State, unless you're at a Florida, unless you're at an Alabama, all these massive programs, like these top tier, it is done, like you are there for life as long as you're winning.
Sure.
Unless you're there, you're always going to run into the situation of your coach potentially being poached. Like that's just how it is. And it sucks. It's crazy. So, it's a whole broader issue than just,
And if you think about it too, let's say this 12-team playoff format existed starting in, 2020. Well, think about Lincoln Riley in Oklahoma would have been a playoff team. And he would have, again, would those circumstances have left him leaving for USC in the middle of the night? Brian Kelly, kind of similar circumstances going to LSU. Who knows? But I think this might be something that unfortunately becomes part of the norm, unless, as you said, Tim, the universities, the NCAA don't adjust their schedules. But going to something that you said, Arthur, is I think you kind of hit the nail on the head. You said like that 6 to 14 range is really fascinating, all kind of discombobulated, and you're not really sure what's going to happen. Guys, I don't think there are more than 6 teams that can win the national championship. Like 6 teams I can picture in my head them holding the trophy. I've got them listed here. Ohio State, Indiana, A&M, Georgia, Oregon, Alabama.
Oh, I disagree with you on Oregon. There's no way. Oregon.
You don't think so?
No shot.
Okay. Why not?
I just, and this goes to what my top 25 is. And I know you probably were surprised when you actually read
I was extremely surprised. Yeah, I was going to let you bring that up, but that was, we'll get to that in about a half hour.
We'll get to that. But basically, what has Oregon done? Okay, they beat Penn State in a tight game with James Franklin. But while that was a good Penn State team, it's basically the same team. They just but then they just tanked. Like, it's one of these things where this is the other problem with the college football committee is they seemingly, as Hunter Yurachek said on Tuesday night, saying that they are more concerned with losses than they are with wins.
I've noticed that. Yeah, this feels like a new sort of criteria they're going by. This just compared to last year's.
And so that's kind of the issue where I don't disagree in a sense where, okay, let's say week 2, Ohio State's playing Indiana, and it's a field goal game at the end of the, it's a field goal difference at the end of the game that solidified either team winning, and then both of them went out. Yeah, I'm not like, I wouldn't put a lot of weight on that loss because it was a hard-fought game. They were the same team the whole entire year. Both teams were. But with Penn State and Oregon, I don't know. I mean, listen, they have a big matchup coming, tomorrow, if not today, because everyone's going to be seeing it Saturday, so it's today. But their matchup versus USC, now I know some people are going to say that, oh, this is a bad matchup for USC, this, that, and the other. But if Oregon loses against Southern Cal, that means Southern Cal will be 9-2. Oregon will be 9-2. And I just don't see how you could have Oregon not only above Southern Cal, but then anywhere in the top 12 if it's not the 12th seed, if you're eliminating the ACC champion, the Group of 5 champion, whoever the hell that is. Like, that to me is going to speak volumes to Oregon. Now, again, I try to go off week by week. I also try to take into account what has happened over the year. But, yeah, I look at Oregon, I'm like, what have you done? So,
well, that's fair, and there's no question this will be kind of their opportunity because they could look back and say, oh, Penn State, they were the number 2, number 3 ranked team in the country, but obviously you see what the Nittany Lions have become today, and then obviously the close win against Iowa, but now Iowa's at the top 25. Still, Iowa's a solid team, so go on the road in tough conditions, win that game, and then of course they did lose at home at Autzen to Indiana, and that's kind of what helped propel the Hoosiers into being in the top 2. This will kind of be the opportunity to say, okay, take all of the variables and all this. USC's an excellent team. USC's playing their best football right now. We can beat them, especially in front of our home stadium in Autzen. I just think a team coached by Dan Lanning, a team that has, they lost a lot of guys from last year's team to the draft, obviously, but still plenty of guys in that team that are dealing with the devastation of undefeated Big Ten champions and then Arthur's Buckeyes coming to the Rose Bowl and just clocking them from the first snap forward. I think that scar tissue can potentially help them in the long run for another potential playoff run, especially considering that if they win out, they'll get a home game at Autzen Stadium in the first round.
And I'm not saying that Oregon's a bad team.
Sure, of course.
They're definitely a good team. One, I just don't see them winning the national championship compared to some of these other teams. And 2, yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how this all plays out, depending on if they win or lose against Southern Cal.
And another big question that we wanted to discuss, and funny, we actually did the segment last week, but
hang on, Bryce. Hang on.
No, go ahead.
I wanted to ask you this question real quick because I've heard this a little bit. What do you guys think it will look like if we combine this format we have right now for the college football playoff with the old BCS rules?
Okay, so explain that to the audience, break that down as far as
I remember
overall resumes, the computer system, like that whole thing.
Yep. So the old BCS rules, right? You just had the 2 clear-cut the 2 clear top teams, right, in the nation. So how it worked, right? You had the human polls, you had the USA Today coaches poll, then you had the Harris Interactive poll that was added in the mid-2000s, right? And then you had the computer rankings, as you said, Bryson, strength of schedule, wins and losses, margin rules, blowouts really didn't help in that. Team success factors, strength of schedule index, quality win bonus, and loss penalty. And then that'll give you your final BCS scores, right? And then you had your bowl games as well, automatic BCS bowl qualifications. We don't have the Pac-12 and all that anymore, so it might be a little bit more difficult since everything has now broken up. And again, in the Big Ten, there's no division. So again, it just adds to a lot of things that's just hard. And so you take those rules, right? bring them to here to where now we're talking about 12 teams. We're not talking about just 2. Because even when we were talking about those 2, that was still like diabolical. Alabama, okay, clear cut, number 1 down there every year, whatever. And then whoever was after them, it was like, okay, yeah, welcome to the party. You know, if you want to go get your ass whooped by Saban and his Roll Tide, go ahead, be my guest. But good luck and having fun being there. But now with it being 12 teams, and now we're not worried about humans really, and Tim has talked about this as well. Humans that we look at it is like, well, you don't really have experience in this college football field, right? You're an AD, right, but you didn't play, right? Mike D'Antoni's on there. Okay, cool. He was a former coach and a former really great coach at Michigan State. There are a few other guys on there that played, but it's like, you ADs, you can get out of here. We're going to leave this up to the coaches. You know, hey, AI is taking over. Why not let, AI go ahead and do its thing and see, you know what? Okay, maybe, you know what I'm saying? It would be interesting to do because, again, we're not leaving this up to human beings. And again, with it being 12 teams, now we're leaving a lot more room, I think, for again, we're talking about the best teams here. We're not talking about the best 2 anymore. Again, it's Alabama and whoever else. Now we're talking about a few SEC, a few maybe Big Ten, right? So
Ava, do you want to know the answer to this?
Tell me, Tim.
So it's 2 things. Number 1, we're already doing BCS style-esque when it comes to these, when it comes to the College Football Playoff Committee. It's not you have mostly ADs on this roster that I read to you last week, including the fact that the Baylor AD, who stepped down from being an AD because there's some shady stuff going on with him and Baylor, whatever it is. He not only stepped down from Baylor, but also from the committee. So they brought in the athletic director for Utah. So another athletic director. But combining the BCS with the College Football Playoff Committee, Arthur, they're already doing the BCS with this. They already have the BCS, and like if you took the BCS model that it was back in 2000 and you compared what this year's College Football Playoff Committee top 25 would look like and the BCS's top 25 would look like, they're almost identical, which tells me that, yeah, great. You have Mike D'Antonio, who, again, former great head coach, as Arthur, you just mentioned. You have Ivan Mizell, big sports writer, college football sports writer, who knows his history when he was on the ESPN College Football 150, doing a bunch of you got Mike Riley, former college and pro head coach at Oregon State in Nebraska. Great. You have 4 guys on this who have some sort of affiliation with the sport itself, whereas the rest of them are all athletic directors, and some of them didn't even play football at all. And so what I'm trying to get at is, they're a bunch of nerds. They're already using computers to dictate how these are going. They're not, they mentioned it that they have teams in, I don't want to say regions, but regions. So like region 1, Ohio State, Indiana, Texas A&M, Georgia, right? That's their region. They order it that way. Then you got region 2, which is, again, Ole Miss, Alabama, Texas Tech. Thank you. Those 5 to 10 teams. And then they order it that way, and that's how they break it down. And they're doing that based off the freaking numbers and what the numbers are telling them. You're telling me that the College Football Playoff Committee, made up by humans, are coming up with the same exact top 25, with the exception of 1 or 2 teams, and the BCS? Like, no, get out of here. It is nerds who have infiltrated sports, who have gotten their way because they were picked on, they were bullied for so long. Now they're trying to bully us, and I'm trying to take the sports back. We need to get our sports back. Stuff the nerds in the lockers and let the jocks handle this, all right? That's how it should be done. Come on. It's an easy answer to your question.
Guys, Tim's nervous for the game today. He is coming out. I mean, just throwing darts here on the show. I freaking love it. And so, yeah, it definitely has to be, and we talked about this last week, you got to get more quote-unquote football people, again, trusted people to me. I think having athletic directors in this, especially, and you mentioned this recently, Tim, athletic directors who haven't necessarily had a lot of college football success. It's been baseball, basketball, it's been other sports. It's like, don't put individuals in there where football.
Victory. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Claiming victory for again, it's very much the Jerry Krause organizations win championships. It's like, well, Michael Jordan, Phil Jackson had a little something to do with that. So like that's kind of the conversation we find ourselves in. Another team that is, we talk about these 2 lost teams, the SEC, they're kind of beating each other up, who could get in. We talked about this last week. The conversation becomes much more interesting now. Texas. So we discussed last week, would a 3-loss Texas Longhorns team get into the college football playoff? Well, safe to say last Saturday didn't exactly help their case. 35-10 loss to Georgia, a game in which Texas actually moved the ball pretty well. Some drops killed some of those early drives, and then Georgia in the second half recovered an onside kick. Gunnar Stockton was sensational. They rode the momentum from there. I'll ask you on this one first, Arthur. Texas has an embarrassing loss to Florida. No offense, Tim. They got blown out, obviously, by Georgia. They lost to your Buckeyes. But if they were to potentially be in a spot at home in Austin and knock off the Texas A&M Aggies, do you think they have a legitimate case, even with 3 losses, to be in the college football playoff this year?
Yeah, I literally had to look at this schedule, their last 2 games. And I'm glad you said, I'm glad you worded it that way. Because Sarkisian should have said 4 when he was up on that. Hey, man, I don't know what schedule he was looking at to think that he was going to finish the season with 3 losses. Because that last game, Marcel Reed started off horrendous. That was bad. I thought that game was over. I really thought that game was over. And then in the second half, they just came out looking like an entirely different team that we've seen them be all season. But, if they somehow beat Texas A&M that in that last game, that
it'd be hard to keep them out. Is kind of what you're saying. I mean, I guess the question is who are you kicking out is the question.
Hang on. Let me check.
Because we can go and put up here. We'll go and put up the rankings. Here's what we got. So obviously, like Miami, just insert ACC team because ACC is getting one team. Like there's no question about it. And could very well be the case of the Big 12 as well. So we're just talking about 4 or 5, depending on the number, SEC and Big 10 teams. Looking at this, who do you think gets kicked out based on what happens the rest of the year? Like if Notre Dame were to lose, Oklahoma, who does Oklahoma? I don't think Oklahoma's really going to lose. They've got Missouri and LSU the rest of the way. They should win out. If Alabama were to maybe lose the Iron Bowl to Auburn, and we all know weird stuff happens at Jordan-Hare. It's a strange situation. That's going to be a night game next week, so that the Iron Bowl should be fun. Who do you think gets knocked down that spot if Texas A&M does get in, if they upset a team like the Texas A&M Aggies next week? I don't think he sees a spot.
Dog, here's the messed up part about this, right? Because when we had this conversation last week, I said money talks. But dude, the teams they would have to jump.
Yeah.
College football would be in a freaking.
Oh no, we lost him again. Frozen 2 for 2 here. A freaking conundrum. I think we got you. Okay, finish the sentence. What do we got? They being a what?
But BYU is at 9-1, and they're going to win their last 2 games. It's against Cincinnati and 4-7 team. I forgot. I literally just looked at it.
If we're really considering BYU over Texas, then I'm done.
Dude, listen. Listen. Money talks. Money talks for sure.
Kidding.
Money talks for
sure.
Do
you want to see BYU or do you want to see Texas?
Dude. Neither,
but then the question,
I'm not even going to lie. Neither, honestly, especially if Arch Manning is going to play the way he's been playing all season. I really don't even want to see Texas. I don't. But again, they're going to bring that money. So yes, Texas would have to get in. But if you're trying to say like Again, BYU. You got Utah. Miami, we already said they have no choice but to get in. Okay, cool. And then you have other teams like Georgia Tech, who, if they're able to finish the rest of the season, do they have a chance? It's too many things. Alabama, let's say something happens, but it's like what you said, Tim. It's chaos right now. It's chaos, and
give it to me.
I don't.
Give it to me. Let's go.
I don't.
Good for our show.
Oh yeah, for sure. Nah, for sure. But if we're talking about BYU, Utah, Georgia Tech, probably USC. I would say Vanderbilt as well. So literally those teams that they're right behind: Georgia Tech, USC, Vanderbilt, Utah, BYU. Those are the teams I feel like could easily be out for Texas.
They're gonna have a lot of stuff happen ahead of them. That's what I'm looking at.
Yeah, for real.
A lot.
For real. But I don't think
well, and guys, forget we're missing, and I hate to put blame for losing, but we're that they have to do this after conference championship weekend. So obviously losing your conference championship is going to matter. And Bryson, to answer the question, yeah, of course, several things are going to have to happen. No two ways about it. But I think one of the big things and one of the big factors in this happening is if USC is able to beat Oregon. If USC beats Oregon, I think that opens a wide open door.
That's not going to happen, though, is it?
Dude,
I mean, it could. I mean,
USC
USC
is a good team. They're not a pushover.
No, yeah, they're not a slouch at all. But
they're not. I don't think they're a great team, but I also don't think they're a bad team. And again, you're talking about a rivalry game. You're talking about Oregon, California. Pac-12 history right there. So stuff is gonna be flying. No two ways about it. But again, if I think Texas, yeah, absolutely. If they can beat A&M, that's going to be the biggest victory, I think, of the entire college football season, unless Michigan beats Ohio State. I think if Michigan...
Even still, it's not like it's going to kill Ohio State's season if that happens. I mean, of course, here's a bigger question. Here's a bigger question.
Hold on. Michigan in let me finish.
Sure, sorry. My bad. Go ahead.
You're fine. All I'm saying is, though, of course, several things are going to have to happen. But if Texas is able to beat A&M at home, that is going to be arguably the biggest college football win of the season, not just for them, but for the entire sport. And that absolutely trumps what a lot of these other teams have done. Now, you're asking me who should get out. Yeah, do I want to see BYU? No, I don't. Yeah, sure, you're 9-1, Lottie freaking down. Like, good for you. But, like, listen, if we're talking about a casual college football fan tuning in, watching this game, do you really think you're going to want to watch BYU and see what they do versus Texas? Like, if BYU sneaks in, let's just say at 10, right?
Right.
And for all intents and purposes, Bama's at 7. What do you think is going to be a better game? Texas versus Bama or BYU versus Bama? Like, yeah, it's not even close. And that's the problem, too, as I mentioned last week, with the whole group of 5 and being, super nice and just, hey, yeah, you're 25th in our top 25, but here you go. Here's a college football playoff spot. Here's the last spot. What? What if no group of 5 finished in the top 25? The group of 5 winner did not finish in the top 25. Are they going to still be let in? Because again, it's the highest one. If not a single one finish ranked, I mean, you're asking for so much crap with this. Because again, the group of 5, it wasn't supposed to be the group of 5. It was supposed to be SEC, Big Ten, ACC, Pac-12, Big 12. That was supposed to be the 5 conference champions that got in. But of course, the Pac-12 dissolved. The rest is history. But should Texas get in if they beat A&M? 1,000%.
Okay, I mean, and I mean that's fair. Is And it was one thing I was going to say before, and I didn't mean to interrupt you there, but like you talk about potential biggest wins of the year. Now we're getting down a rabbit hole now. But what if Michigan beats Ohio State?
Dog.
Then they have 2 losses. Then they'll have beaten the Buckeyes again. 10 wins and the Big Ten. Like, you're not going to let them in over Texas with 9
loss. Mm-hmm.
What's that?
Ohio State's got 1 loss now. Like,
but I'm like, it doesn't, obviously hurt Ohio State's.
Oh, no.
I'm talking more so like
Ohio State's going to be out based on that.
Right. I'm talking more like a Michigan 2 loss versus, versus a Texas 3 loss. Like, yeah, but Michigan beat Ohio State and Texas lost to Ohio State. Like that, those would all be, now one game would be in Columbus, the other game would be in Ann Arbor. I get that, but it's next week's show is gonna be a blast, guys, because we'll be reacting to that game. We'll be reacting to Georgia Tech, the Egg Bowl, and Lane Kiffin news. It's
what if Georgia Tech upsets Georgia?
Oh my gosh! Then you have chaos.
Because again, hold on. Like, even if you want to look at the ACC, right? We're all penciling in Miami right now as ACC champion. Let's not forget Georgia Tech is 9-1. Yep. Virginia's 9-2. Miami and Virginia are playing Virginia Tech this weekend, next week, respectively. The ACC is by no means done. And if Georgia Tech can hold off at home versus Georgia by some strange miracle that, the football gods are sprinkling powder over Atlanta and saying, Georgia Tech, this is your time. Like, what are we going to do then? Because now it's a 1-loss ACC team that just beat Georgia. Like,
and also too, I mean, they almost did beat Georgia last year in that game on Black Friday that went 8 or 9 overtimes in Athens, right? So like they and that Haynes King played in that game, so it could be interesting with the home field advantage shifting for Georgia Tech. Speaking of, again, this has been a heavy SEC school or SEC show, but as the old saying goes in the SEC, it just means more. All due respect, Arthur, to the Big Ten, but it does indeed just mean more. I mean, there's a reason that the 20th ranked Tennessee Volunteers are only 3.5-point favorites as we sit here today against the 3-7 Gators. Like that's the depth of the conference. With that being said, there's some rumors, there's some recent news that potentially Kalen DeBoer could be pursued by the Penn State Nittany Lions. Arthur's already shaking your head, so I'm going to go to you first. Do you okay? So let me rephrase that.
Ask the question.
I'll see if I can get the question out of my mouth first. Should this be a situation where obviously Penn State goes after Kalen DeBoer? Should he leave Alabama to go to Penn State or stay at Bama?
He better not. He better not. Dog, you better not get up out of that seat. No. You left Washington. When we saw, we were like, okay, he's doing a little something there. You left them to go here to play with the big boys. Now you're going to leave the big boys to go to No. We're not. No, we are not doing that at all. Nah, I wouldn't be mad at him for leaving, right? But I don't think it's smart. I don't think it's ideal. You've got a Heisman candidate at quarterback. You guys have righted the ship. If you guys lose in the college football playoff, cool, whatever. No, dog, you don't leave Washington to go to Alabama, then run tail to Penn State. You don't do that. Stay at Alabama, dog. Build your culture. Build your culture. We looked at you like, dang, he's got balls for taking this job. So stand on that. You had a rough first year. Again, we thought this year was going to be rough for you, but you righted the ship. You're going to have to go into your third year. Continue the momentum. We don't know what's going to happen. But if you leave to go to Penn State, like, dog, then we're going to look at you as like, oh, okay, so you got scared. That's how at least I'm going to take it. It's like, why are you leaving to go to Penn State? No.
And I think too, I think we just lost Arthur again. Here's what I was thinking as he was saying that, is that let's use a college basketball now.
I can't wait to get new internet down here. But I'm being so serious. I need to hurry up and get it soon. But you are literally coaching at the greatest college football program of all time. Again, you don't leave Washington to go to Penn State. No, you let somebody else fill in James Franklin's shoes. This is Nick Saban's shoes that you filling in here. And you're trying to do it your own way, right? And we've seen it We've seen how doing it your way has made a whole lot of people look at you crazy because we're not used to this, from the stuff that you do in your office, trying to make it look beautiful with Coach Saban's hardware in there, not yours, Coach Saban's hardware in there. We've seen how your players play on the field and how these little, little kid outbursts, and how they don't play as hard sometimes. They're not catching balls. They're not running tough. They're not tackling. It's like, okay, we're seeing a little something that we wouldn't see from a Nick Saban Alabama Crimson Tide squad, but we are letting you coach this team. We are supporting you coach this team how you want to coach it. And right now, you guys sit here at 8-2, still have the chance to make the college football playoff, still have the chance to do something special in your team here with the Alabama Crimson Tide. But no, you do not. You say, thank you, Penn State, for calling. But no, I am the coach of the Alabama Crimson Tide. I am not leaving. Because again, to me, if he leaves, you are scared. You are scared. You are showing that you cannot handle it. And dog, you can't, because then imagine what Nick Saban is going to feel. Oh, he's going to have a field day. He's going to have an absolute field day, because Saban, he's slick with his words. He does everything he can on College Game Day to, I'm going to throw a little, throw those, no, you stay your ass right there. Stay your ass right there. Do not leave. Please do not leave. Not for Penn State. Not for Penn State.
Let's use an example, because Bama, if we had to list like 10 tier 1 college football, blue blood programs, Alabama's obviously in that 10. And then he had to go in kind of a tier 2. Penn State's probably in that next 10. That would be like if John Shire at Duke in college basketball left Duke to go to Alabama. Funny, we use Alabama. Like, Alabama is in recent years has been a very, very good men's college basketball program, but Duke is Duke. Like, that's especially when you replace Coach K, or in the case of of Kalen DeBoer, when you replace Nick Saban, we would look at John Shire like kind of funny, like, oh, did Cameron Indoor, did that atmosphere get a little too big for you? I don't know. That would be. How do you feel about this, Tim?
So a couple of things came to mind. First and foremost, you're everyone's still trying to figure out this whole Lane Kiffin situation. And a lot of people now are trying to speculate that, what if Bama's like that sneaky team, which is why the reports are kind of coming out there where, maybe Alabama's doing a backdoor deal. So it's like, Kalen, go to Penn State.
Oh my gosh, that would be hilarious.
Can you imagine?
It would be wild. That's first in my thought process. The second one is, after kind of looking into this a little bit, I think fan bases, and I feel like I've alluded to this. I don't know if I've necessarily talked about it outright. I might have probably with my Gators, but fan bases in college football have gotten way, way, way too extreme. You have the wife of Kalen DeBoer fearing for her life after a loss. And during my time in Florida, I knew a kid, and there are some Florida fans that I know that still act like this, where if they lose, it's like the whole world is over. Like the whole night is dead. Like, you can't go out. You can't do anything. Even in basketball, guys were still like that. You're just sitting there going, it's one game, number one, and number two, let's pump the brakes. It's a game. It's a sport. It's something that we enjoy. Yeah, it sucks when you lose. Trust me, who better to know than me? Okay? Like, I've had my share of heartbreak. I don't think any of you can talk about your professional football teams going undefeated and then losing in the biggest game ever. So I know pain. But
blowing a 3-1 lead in the finals isn't the greatest either when you went 73-9, but go ahead. Yeah.
Regardless. The thing that bothers me is that coaches aren't given time to develop. And listen, I understand there are guys, Billy Napier is a perfect example, where I was like, just give him time. Just let him get an OC. Just let, this, that, and the other. Great recruiter, but he couldn't coach. And Florida fans, by the end of year one, while he's trying to put all the pieces back together that Dan Mullen just threw all over the house, like, with how toxic and awful that the program was when Mullen got fired. Florida fans after year one were like, we need to fire him. We need to fire him. And it's like, guys, relax. It's 1 year. We're going to have to take our lumps. I understand that. It sucks. It's no fun because you want to have a college football season. You want to be competing. Now that it's a 12-team playoff format, yeah, it's easier than ever to get into the college football playoff. But the fact that, and again, I get it. SEC, no one gets it better than me. And Bryson, or this way. I always, it's backwards. It's reverse.
That's right. Yeah, it's weird.
Yeah. But the fact that coaches and their families are fearing for their life, whether it's at school, whether it's at the grocery store, whether it's this, that, and the other, because you lose a freaking football game. I mean, what are we talking about? What are we doing as fans, as people? Yeah, I know Bama's got a massive history. I don't know, outside of Notre Dame, maybe Army, but what school has more of a history, has more of a consistent history than Alabama? None. So maybe USC. I just popped into my head. But it's like, listen, I personally, Patriots fan, had a 20-year dynasty run. And then in 2020, 1, 2, 3, and 4, we sucked. We were average, and then we sucked. Back-to-back losing seasons. It's going to happen. You have Nick Saban, and you won 6 titles. Here's an idea. Be freaking grateful that you had that chance, that you had that opportunity. And if the next guy is good, but not Nick Saban, then, oh my God, the world is over. We need to just cycle through coaches year in and year out. Like, what is going on?
It shows that fan bases are spoiled.
Well,
we've been spoiled.
It's spoiled, but it's like they're children. Like, they're spoiled, but they don't understand that this doesn't happen all the time. And when you have a very good coach in Kalen DeBoer, who, yeah, took a rough first loss against Florida State, but then proceeded to just dominate the SEC from there on until playing Oklahoma last week. Dominated the SEC. Why are we all up in arms about Kalen DeBoer losing? Why are we up in arms about Alabama losing? And not for nothing, if it is to be true that, there wasn't any death threats, I'll say that, but just fear, the feeling, like when you're walking around, keeping your head on a swivel, like if you're feeling like that, then you know what? Good. Get out of there. Go to Penn State. Because you know what? Penn State, while they want, championships and while they want to win, they're also okay with 8-4 as long as you beat Ohio State or you beat Michigan. As long as you get a big time victory, trust me, you're not going to be looking around, with your head on a swivel, worrying about somebody jumping out of the bushes at you because you lost to frickin' Mississippi State. Like, what are we doing? That is what bothers me more than anything, because it just, you can be spoiled. 20 years, Patriots, right here. You can be spoiled, but also understand that after that ends, my mind shift switches to, okay, I understand I'm not going to make the AFC Championship or the Super Bowl every year, but I just want to be competitive. That's it. I just want to be competitive. If you can give me a competitive season, a 10-2, 9-3 at worst, maybe 8-4 a couple of years, maybe to get things going or whatnot, then it's okay. It's fine. You're doing your job. You're getting the pro, and you look competent. Billy Napier never looked competent, but as long as you look competent, then it's okay. But fan bases in general, this goes to with the whole firing and all of that. It's out of hand. College football fan bases are out of control. It's wild.
No, I mean, I could not agree more with you in the sense of like, and also too, like I remember, you know, we're getting deep here into this dynasty talk, but when the Warriors lost the finals in 2019, it was five appearances in a row, lost in Game 6 to Toronto, and the team fell apart due to injury. I remember, and I'm not, hand to God, this is not to like sound all like self-righteous or anything. I remember thinking, okay, I think we can still win championships in the future, but as far as just mowing through the league, that's done. And I remember thinking, what a privilege this was to get to witness this as a fan of this team for as long as, like, teams would die for a run like my Warriors had, like your Patriots had, like your Ohio State Buckeyes have had, Arthur. Like and by the way, it's not like it's not like you promoted the offensive coordinator. You got Kalen freaking DeBoer fresh off of a national championship appearance. Like, you didn't just get some, Joe Schmo from Colorado State. Like, no, I'm with you. And so if the Bama fans have kind of contributed to this, yeah, I'm with you. Like, if nothing else, for your own personal safety, and obviously, Lord willing, that's not a concern for DeBoer's family or anybody, but
and that's also
it's
part
a
of
good point.
Yeah, and that's and I don't just look at that as a Kalen DeBoer like solo issue. I look at that as LSU, Florida. You got Penn State. Penn State let James Franklin go out of nowhere. Yeah, they tanked, but even still, you're like, what the hell? And then, we talked about it at the beginning of the year. Oklahoma State letting Mike Gundy go, the man who basically, kept Oklahoma State thriving, for all these years, just gone. So to me, it's the fans. You can't please them. You just can't. But have some common courtesy. I mean, for the love of all that is good, at the end of the day, it's a freaking game. I want to win just as much as the next guy. But guess what? There's only one winner at the end of the day, and that's it. So, like, fans really need to look at themselves in the mirror and just say, okay, where do I stand? How do I look at my team? How do I look at, winning and losing? Do I invest everything I have into this game? And then if they lose, like, my weekend is shot, I can't do anything? Or, damn, that sucks, we lost, but all right, move on to the next day. We'll get them next week. And again, I know there's some in-betweens, and I know not every fan is crazy to make people fear for their lives, or
the fringes are the loudest. That's how it always is.
Exactly. But just the whole, like, the firings left and right. I mean, that's also what I mean by fans. College football fans need to get their acts together. I mean, honestly, it's crazy.
I think you're spot on. I think it goes to a bigger problem in sports, and hopefully that's something that we can address as a collective college football fan base. All right, let's go and transition to our first curated segment of the show. It is now time for Buckeyes Breakfast with Arthur Hurst. Arthur, go ahead and take it away.
What's going on, y'all? It's Buckeyes Breakfast with me, Arthur Hurst, and I gotta tell you, man, it's great being a part of the mountaintop. We're up here, right, at number one. We got Texas A&M right there. We got IU right here. Okay, we're the only 3 undefeated. Cool, but y'all not number one, so, hey, don't get no dirt on my, on my rug. Make sure you stay off my lawn, okay? That's fresh green grass right there, okay? So watch out. But it's beautiful. Now, here's the biggest issue that the Buckeyes are going to have to worry about later on this season is their health. Cardinal Tate has not played the last 2 games. Jeremiah Smith played barely in that second half of this last game. Right now, those 2 who have been easily the dominant wide receiver, whatever you want to call it, they have been the dominant wide receivers this year. Going into this game against Rutgers, the second we start blowing the hinges off of them, get them out. Love Ryan Day and respect him and all of that, but dude, still playing Julian Sain when we're winning big. I don't care if we're trying to worry about his Heisman candidacy. Get him out of the game, please. Quit leaving in Jeremiah Smith and Cardinal Tate. Quit leaving in Max Clare. Quit leaving in your premier running back in bowl, Lamar Jackson, whichever one you want to call him. Take them out, okay? Leave Isaiah West in and play the rest of that third and fourth quarter. Your starters on your defense, take them out of the game. I don't want to see Caleb Downs out there anymore. I don't want to see Arvell Reese out there anymore. Dude, when you're blowing these teams out, that's the perfect time to put your starter on the bench. Let Lincoln Key and Hopes come in and run quarter. All right, we back. But nah, like we've Jeremiah Smith and Carnell Tate have clearly carried a lot of this load for the Ohio State offense. Caleb Downs, Arvell Reese, all these guys have carried a lot of the load for the Ohio State defense. They deserve a rest. They deserve a break. And in this game against Rutgers, again, it's going to be another easy dub. It's going to be at the Horseshoe. It's going to be loud. Fans are going to be feisty. Fans are going to be active. This Ohio State Buckeyes team is going to be active, especially if Carnell Tate and Jeremiah Smith are able to play. This is going to be, again, one of those games where we go out, we dominate, but please get them out of the game. I'm tired of seeing them playing these blowouts. There is no reason. Okay, so just leave it be. Okay, please just leave it be. When we blow these teams out, get them out of the game. Let the second stringers come in, have their fun, playing against these teams. But there's no reason why we're talking about Carnell Tate and Jeremiah Smith. Oh, well, nah, man, we got Michigan next week. Like, we're going to need our premier stars to be ready to play the Wolverines. And it's going to be in Ann Arbor. It ain't going to be in Columbus, Ohio. Julian Sayin is about to have a real test next week. And he's going to need his two biggest playmakers on that offense to be 110%. They're going to play regardless because they are competitors. They understand that the rivalry, and they understand that, hey, we've lost to them 4 years in a row. And last year we lost to them, and we lost to them so bad, and it messes up so bad to where it's like, you know what, we're just going to run through everybody to the national championship. We need those two for next week, right? So just come on, Ryan. I know we're worried about Heisman campaigns and all that, but dog, we got bigger fish to fry. We worried about national championships. Okay, let's go beat Michigan. Let's go win the Big Ten, and then let's go win a national championship. Right now, I don't want to see Carnell Tate on the sideline because something's going on, and y'all don't really want to say. I don't want to see Jeremiah Smith on the sideline because y'all don't want to say. Nah, it's too late in the year, dog. It's too late in the year for me to be worried. Because it's like, daggone, number 17 and number 4 on the field, this offense looks entirely different. Because now Graham doesn't have chemistry like that with Julian Sayin. Now Julian Sayin is rushing a little bit. Now there's not really a lot of that separation that 17 and 4 are able to create, that the second string is able to create. Nah. The second things go our way, second half, starters, you're out, second strings in. Go have y'all's fun. We are getting ready for Michigan next week, and then after that, we getting ready for the next game. And come on, Ryan, get your starters out of the game early when these blowouts happen, so we not, Buckeye fans are stressing, sweating, worrying about if their two best players are going to be playing the following week. All right, let's go out here, dominate Rutgers in the first half, and then get our starters out and let the second strings there. That's all I got to say about this. That's all for Buckeye Breakfast. We'll be back with Saturday Morning Tailgate.
All right, welcome back to the Saturday Morning Tailgate. Great stuff by Arthur on Buckeyes Breakfast as always. Listen, I am next week's game, man, and we talked about at the top of the show. That game against Michigan next week, it's in Ann Arbor. There's the losing streak. Like, would it be, let me just ask you real quick, and then we'll move to our top 25. People obviously won't be calling, I'd imagine, calling for Day's job if you lose to Michigan, but will there be a sense of, we would almost rather you beat Michigan and lose in the semifinal than what's been going on the last few years? Like, what will be the vibe around Ohio State football if you lose to Michigan for a fifth consecutive year?
It's so funny because I remember last offseason after Jack Sawyer got drafted by the Steelers, and on Cameron Hayward's podcast, somebody asked him that same question because, Cam Hayward went to Ohio State. So they asked the question, would you rather, lose to Michigan? Would you rather beat Michigan and lose the national championship, or would you rather lose to Michigan and win the national championship like they did last year? Jack Sawyer said, I'd rather win the national championship. Cameron Hayward said, dog. And that just goes to show you, like, it depends on how you look at it, right? And it's crazy how there's literally a class of guys, Jack Sawyer is included in that never beat Michigan.
Yep.
CJ Stroud never beat Michigan. It's insane to think about, like, daggone, y'all are easily some of our greatest players. And you go down the list of great players at Ohio State, and it's like, daggone, y'all are on that list, and y'all never beat our biggest rival and probably the biggest rivalry game in college football. So the game. So for me, man, I don't know, man. I really don't know. I would love if we lose to Michigan and we win the national championship every year. Okay, cool. Fine. You know what? I can get behind that. But losing that game and then, nah, man, it's tough. It's tough because, again, this is also coming from, we've dominated Michigan going back to the Terrell Pryor days. You know what I'm saying? That was like in the
early 2010s.
Yeah, early 2010s. And then Urban Meyer came in, dominated, and then Ryan Day dominated. And then for some reason, we just thought, I don't know what happened. Like, it was literally with CJ. I don't know what happened with CJ Stroud and how we just could not beat them. Again, that was also part of, Ryan Day trying to control the trenches, and we're going to run the ball. And no, like, please, can we just get back to how we've been able to beat this team? It's been with a dual threat quarterback, and it's been with a great running game, sure, but it was because we had a dual threat quarterback, and our defense wasn't able to let them get anything off. And then, you let guys like JJ McCarthy, have an undefeated season and go on to win the national championship, and then everybody looking at him like, oh, and then we get to the NFL, and yet, even though he's been whatever, it's like, well, was he? No, I would be the first to say he wasn't. Remember, Donovan Edwards is on that team. Okay, that dude was
Blake Corum. Yep.
Blake. My fault. You're right. Blake Corum was on that team, right? In that national championship game, McCarthy had like what?
13 and 10.
Yeah, like, come on, man. Like, what are we doing? And so it's that type of things where it's like, again, like when you beat Ohio State, it just adds. And it helped because we were whooping their behinds for so long. And nobody was calling for Harbaugh's job that I know of in Michigan.
Oh, no. A lot
early,
of people were calling for Harbaugh.
They were.
Early, maybe not, but dude, like,
but later on for sure.
After three, it was, what the hell are we doing? Why is Harbaugh still here? Everybody was saying that. But the one thing I will say when it comes to that is that's the beauty about college football. It goes back to the old adage, you can lose every single game of the year as long as you beat our rival. That's all that matters. So, yeah, it's next week's going to be wild.
That's the beauty of the sport, man. That never goes away. I mean, you saw last year, and man, let's make this. Let's get out ahead of this, fellas. Let's make this an annual tradition. What we saw last year, where the road team that wins on the road goes, plants their flag at midfield. I love it. That just gives the rival more juice.
Back to when Baker Mayfield did it at Ohio State.
I love it.
Listen, I love you. I mean it. But the amount of Ohio State people that were crying when Baker Mayfield planted the flag after beating your ass in the horseshoe. Oh my, and a lot of people have done it since, so don't get me wrong, but it was just like, it's
great.
Hey, that's football. It is a war, like where
it's college football. That doesn't happen in the NFL. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Like, you don't do that in the NFL. No one cares in the NFL. They're making money. Like, it is what it is. But it was it was perfect. It was awesome. And Baker Mayfield got so much crap for that. And that's one of the reasons why I was always a Baker guy, because it was just like, yes, absolutely, that's great.
Hey, man, and listen, and when he did it, when he did it, I was like, look, he got us this year. He got us, and then he continued to get teams throughout that year. Yep. I was like, it's coming. The humbling is going to happen. Whoo, when that humbling happened, I was a happy man. I just sat back. Hey.
Georgia got him. Georgia got him in that Rose Bowl. Yeah, Baker had an amazing 2017. All right, Well, let's go and get into our top 25. Tim, I'm going to start with you. Go and pull up your top 25. Tell me what you got here.
All right, so obviously straight up, no, Ohio State, Indiana, Texas A&M, not deviating there. Then this is where kind of you could argue it went off the rail. Not terribly, but a little bit. Where I got Ole Miss at 5, Oklahoma at 6, Texas Tech at 7, Bama at 8, Notre Dame at 9. Now, you're going to say to me, well, wait a minute, where's Oregon? Well, it's funny you should ask, because Oregon is number 11 on my list. And again, great. They're a good football team. I'm not going to deny it. But you know what? If I were to use the rules and the model that the College Football Playoff Committee used, because they love talking out of both sides of their mouth, if I'm going to use the rules that they used, I am dinging them massively for that Penn State victory. Because they
dinging them for a victory?
Yeah. Again, did you not listen to what Hunter Yurachek said?
More focused.
I get he was talking, at least the way I interpret it, as who you lose to and like that holds more weight than it used to. Not necessarily your victories or margin of wins against teams that ended up being terrible late in the year.
Yeah, well, again, they are floating with the boat. Like they have no idea what they're talking about. The fact that hey, I don't blame them for this, but the fact that Notre Dame is ranked ahead of Bama, why?
That's weird. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, and again, Notre Dame is also ranked ahead of Miami. But where's BYU? BYU technically has one loss, but they're
they have
11th.
Miami. Or are you talking about BYU? I'm sorry. My bad.
No.
Yeah.
I said Notre Dame is ranked ahead of Miami.
Right.
And then I followed that up with BYU, who has one loss. So, again, and then, like I said, when I go back and look at Oregon's schedule, okay, yeah, Penn State was ranked 3rd, but then they just fell off a cliff. So with James Franklin. And then they got killed at home versus Indiana, 30-20. And then they snuck by Iowa in Iowa, 18-16. They couldn't score. And listen, I say this all the time. Iowa is a defensive team and a trenches team, always. They don't have skill positions. They are built in the trenches. That's how they beat you. And, Oregon was able to sneak by, but am I, quote-unquote, impressed? No, and this goes back to what I said at the very start of the year. I am basing everything. I am basing my decisions based on the logo on the side of the helmet. When it comes to teams like Oregon, I mean, listen, they're a good team. Not going to deny that. This doesn't mean that they're terrible and that they're out of the top, 12. They're 12, like they're 11. So, that to me, it's just, listen, I like Notre Dame. I like Alabama. I had Alabama ranked ahead of Notre Dame just because of what they did in the SEC. And now, again, Oregon at 11, Georgia Tech at 12. Georgia Tech is, I'm just pulling my thing up here. Georgia Tech's got one loss. Miami's got 2. I got to, give Georgia Tech the nod as in terms of penciling in the ACC champion there. So they're at 12. Michigan, I got a 13 after their win versus Northwestern. USC, again, they are going to be playing a very tough matchup. Miami is at 15, going against Virginia Tech. And then I've got BYU 16. Texas.
You got BYU at 16 too?
Yeah, I do.
Go ahead.
Mm-hmm. This is Arthur. These are my tiers. This is my top 25. Yeah, there you go.
Let the man finish.
Mute your mic. These are my top 25. You get your own top 25. All right. Texas, I dropped to 17 after losing to Oklahoma. Good game, but Texas got killed by Georgia. Excuse me. I combined Oklahoma and Alabama there. And then Utah at 18. Tennessee at 19. They're probably going to drop out of the top 25 after this Saturday. And Missouri at number 20, going against number 8 Oklahoma. They can really stir some stuff up this week. And then to round off top 25, Virginia's on a bye, sitting at 9-2. Then I've got Navy over everybody else because, come on, Navy is 8-2. They are currently number 1 in the American Conference. So if we're going to keep everything in line, Navy should be far ahead of Tulane. It's not even funny. Then I got Houston, SMU, and James Madison. Oh, did I have Tulane? Did I add?
I think you did have Tulane.
Oh, did I? All right. Well, I might have updated it after I sent it to you. Then
no, it's all good. It's all good.
I had James Madison at number 25, sitting at 9-1. Otherwise, that's my top 25. So, what do you got to say, boys?
I think Arthur has a lot to say. I'm going to give him the floor. He laughed so hard he's frozen again. He's gone. Oh, that's perfect. That's like thumbnail worthy right there. That is fantastic. If we get him back in an opportunity to return. Okay, I think we got you back, Arthur.
Oh my goodness, that was Hang on.
Oh no, I did James Madison in here. Bryson.
Oh, okay, my bad then. That's my bad. My bad then. Doc
God.
the host. I'll tell you this. I'll say when you initially sent me, because I made the graphics and you could see there because I botched the number 25 spot there, and I apologize for that. But when you sent me the 10, I was like, look there. I was like, okay. I was like, did he forget about Oregon? Now, then I saw Oregon at 11. I was like, holy crap, he really does not buy the Oregon Ducks right now. So listen, you're going off a certain criteria that the committee is going off of. So I mean, at least you're going off of what the committee's saying. So I respect it. It's the committee who's not terribly consistent.
Again, I am taking what the committee's saying. I'm also implementing the fact that I'm going off of what I see.
Sure.
You know, and when you're and again, I understand you play the teams that are in front of you. Not going to sit there and argue with that. But again, with what I see out of Oregon, I like them. I think they're a good team. I think they're a college football playoff team. No two ways about it. But if I want to compare them to Oklahoma and what they did against Alabama, I want to compare them against Alabama and what they've done all season. You know, yeah, they lost to Oklahoma this week, but they could have won that game.
Sure.
You know? And then in Notre Dame, yeah, all right, maybe you could convince me that Oregon is in front of Notre Dame, but I don't like. I just think what Notre Dame has done and how they have adjusted to the 0-2 stat. You know, they murdered Pittsburgh last Saturday. Yeah. So I don't know. I'm just looking at it going, listen, I like Oregon. You know, they're a good team, but are we basing their top 10-ness based on how they're playing, or are we basing it off the logo? And if you want to tell me you're basing it off of how they're playing, great. I'd love to sit down and have that conversation, you know, but it's just the way I look at it right now, this is why it's subjective. I got them at 11.
That's fair. We'll go and go to Arthur's speech about 10 top 25.
No, I mean, I'm not mad at it. He's right. They do. Oregon looks
like what? How do they look? Arthur? Damn it, Arthur, tell me how they look.
Oh my God, that was great. Oh man. Frozo's in full. Okay, I think we got you back, Arthur. I think we got you.
But no, I was saying real quick. No, Oregon definitely looks like they can get got for sure. Okay.
Listen, if you disagree, please tell me. Like, why do you think we're doing this?
No, I mean, listen. When you barely beat Penn State and it takes you 2 overtimes to beat them, when you lose to Indiana when they're ranked number 7, you only beat Wisconsin by 14, you only beat Iowa by 2. But I told you guys before, even when we play them, like that's always going to be a tough team. Iowa, Purdue, those teams always make it tough on the big leagues or the Big Ten.
I don't know about Purdue, but yeah.
Well, I mean, Purdue beat us that one year.
Sure,
They always get us like every 5 years, and it's just that loss where it's just like, my God, this is when the quarterback plays like this, or the defense is like, good God, what is going on? I'm I'm not mad at it. I'm not mad. I'm not. It's
Arthur, be mad. Come on.
I'm not.
Be
I'm more
convinced.
surprised about BYU being at 16, dog.
Well,
That's the one that really gets me.
I mean, let's go and get into your list to see where you got BYU, where you got
let's go. Come on.
Oregon. Let's go show them the list. Let's see what
All
Arthur
right,
has
come
here.
on. So listen, there's no two ways about it. We know the top three teams are Ohio State, IU, and Texas A&M. Texas A&M was about to get plummeted. I don't know where, but they really was about to piss me off because Marcel Reed, I don't know. You look like Joey Aguilar in the second half of Georgia, dog. That was
Watch it.
Did he not? Did he not? Hey man, I don't know where he was throwing. I don't know if he got the jerseys mixed up. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know if this was part of the plan to make the win a lot better, to try to propel him up the Heisman rankings or something. But my God, what number 10 did for the Aggies in that first half, I could not believe my eyes. And I said, this game is over. Texas A&M is probably going to drop to like number 10 on my top 25, and they're not going to be an undefeated team anymore. And then they want to look like Texas A&M in the second half, and then you got Marcel Reed going post-game afterwards on social media talking about, I'm sorry about that first half. Yeah, I would be too. Okay, I would be too. We have Georgia at number 4 and Ole Miss at number 5. Ole Miss, enjoy it because it looks like your coach is leaving as the day goes on. And I feel bad for y'all because y'all had a hell of a season, right? You still have a season to go play after he leaves, but after he possibly leaves, but it sucks. It really does. And I'm having y'all's funeral early because I don't see y'all doing much of anything after he leaves. I'm not going to lie. Texas A&M at 6 and Oregon at 7. Listen, Oregon definitely can get got this year. Not saying they can't. I'm saying having them outside of the top 10 is still a little bit wild to me. I'm not going to lie to you. I have Oklahoma at 8 and I have Notre Dame at 9. Now, listen, both of you said, how is Notre Dame over Alabama? For me, I really take that Oklahoma loss like bad. Notre Dame first only 2 losses was at the beginning of the year. Freshman quarterback, that's what I really put that on. And then we always talk about it. They had a chance to beat Texas A&M if the referees don't screw it over. That's what I look at. Alabama, dog. Y'all, I thought Oklahoma shit the bed. I really thought when they were down, Oklahoma shit the bed. I was like, okay, Alabama just has to take care of the ball, take care of the clock. This game is over. And then they let them go up 23-21. I thought, wow, okay, so that happened. Are you guys going to be able to answer back and do something about it? And the answer is no. Both defenses played lights out, but Oklahoma stepped up when they really needed to and was able to get the W against Alabama. That's what I put it on, right? That's what I put it on. So going on to number 11, I have BYU right outside of that top 10, and I got Miami rounding out the top 12. I got Utah and Vanderbilt at my 13 and 14. USC, I love what they're doing at 15. And, man, if they're able to beat Oregon, oh, my goodness. I might just have them jump up to 12. I'm not going to lie to you. I don't care what Vanderbilt, Utah, Miami, and BYU. If USC somehow beats Oregon, then I'll be on Tim's side, and I'll gladly drop Oregon out of my top 10. I'll probably mess around and drop them out of my top 12. But again, having Oregon outside of my top 10 right now, even though they look like they can definitely get got, I can't do. Georgia Tech at 16, Michigan at 17, and Texas at 18. Arch Manning, dog, listen, Sarkisian, again, you should have talked about y'all having 4 losses up on that pedestal or on that platform because, dude, there's no way in the world you're beating the Aggies. I'm sorry. I don't care if it's at Texas Longhorn Stadium and Matthew McConaughey is going to be there and his nice little Texas Longhorn colored jacket with his cowboy hat on and his nice old cowboy boots. Look, I do not care. Y'all are not being Texas A&M. It's not happening. Y'all are not going to make the college football playoff, even with 4 losses. I don't care how much money y'all bring in. If y'all even sniff that 12th spot, I'm going to be pissed for every college football fan out there. I got Virginia at number 19, and I got Joey Aguilar and the Tennessee Volunteers at number 20. At number 21, I got Illinois. Missouri, I got at 22. Again, man, I don't know why we talking about Missouri Tigers as one of the top whatever in the SEC, but hey, I'm going to let y'all have it. I got Houston at 23. I got Tulane at 24, and I got Arizona State at number 25. And I'm not going to lie, Bryson, y'all better win this weekend. I swear to God. Y'all better win this weekend. Because, dude, hey.
I'm of the same mindset, man.
That 26 spot is calling Tennessee's name.
26. That'll be generous, Arthur. If we lose to Florida, oh my gosh. I hope we're 26. So let's just get to my top 25 because I got a lot to say on the view. Go and put up the list here. Yeah, again, top three. I don't know how you can make a case for anybody else other than these teams in this order. Defending champion Buckeyes 1, Indiana 2, A&M number 3. That game against South Carolina. I'm watching that first half and I'm thinking, this is the South Carolina that I said in the preseason. They're going to be a college football playoff team. This is Lenore Sellers doing his thing, and of course, it ends up being a disaster. You got what's my man's name? Beamer talking trash to the fans at halftime, and then when it's all said and done, tail tucked between the legs, and it's a sad walk to the tunnel for the South Carolina Gamecocks, who blow a 27-point lead in the second half. Great second half by Marcel Reed. He is absolutely a Heisman contender, certainly not the front runner. I still think that is Fernando Mendoza. Georgia Bulldogs 4. You want to talk about that was the first time this season where you look back and you look up and you say, Georgia's had the defense struggled against my VOLS back in week 3, and they struggled to beat Florida, and they had some moments against Auburn where they didn't look very good. They lost to Alabama. This was the first time it's like, that is the Georgia Bulldogs. That is a Kirby Smart defense, absolutely suffocating Texas's offense in the second half, going for the onside kick. Georgia, a true contender once again. They've got their aura back. I've got Oregon number 5. Again, I think this is a team that is capable of going on a deep postseason run. I'm a big time, believer in Dan Lanning. I think he's built a fantastic culture there. Dante Moore is one of the top quarterbacks in college football. Huge game today against USC, so we'll see how that plays out. Texas Tech at 6. You got to give them the respect. They have absolutely dominated the Big 12 this season, and it feels like at this particular moment in time. We'll see what BYU does. You'll see them later in my rankings, but it feels like Texas Tech, it's their conference to lose. Ole Miss is at number 7. Again, sort of to echo what Arthur said. It is just a darn shame, man. I mean, you're probably going to get in the playoff and your head coach might not even be there. I mean, it was announced today, and I'm sure Tim might talk about this on Gator City, that there's going to be a press conference. The AD has announced a press conference the day after the Egg Bowl. Who knows what's going to happen? Oklahoma at a big-time W on the road against the Alabama Crimson Tide. Incredible stuff going on their defense. Again, holding Alabama's offense to 21, just like you'd held Tennessee's offense to 27, which is well below Tennessee's average. Oklahoma, one of the best defenses in the country. John Mateer making plays when he needs to. Notre Dame at 10. Again, I've also got Notre Dame over Alabama. I think it's simply a matter of, okay, you've been hotter as of late. I've seen more consistency from your offense. Ty Simpson has been is a little shaky as of late. There was a moment in time on this show we were discussing, could it be the Heisman contender? He's kind of fallen out of that discussion in recent weeks, whereas Jeremiah Love, running back for the Notre Dame Fighting Irish, has been absolutely elevating himself in that discussion. Personally, I have him right behind Fernando Mendoza at that number 2 spot for Heisman. Notre Dame followed by the Crimson Tide. BYU at number 11. Again, they've only got one loss. They still control their own fate to get to the college football playoff as the Big 12 champion. A potential, semifinal game, or not semifinal game, a Big 12 title game between Texas Tech, BYU from Jerry World. Hey, sign me up. I'm excited for that. USC at number 12. I'm hyped for this game today featuring USC and Oregon. That is going to be the true test. This is an opportunity for Lincoln Riley to say, you know what? After all the I've taken from Oklahoma fans, and my teams are tough enough and physical enough and all of this, this is my opportunity to make a statement to beat Oregon on the road in Autzen and put my team in a prime position to make the college football playoff. USC's at 12. Utah is a roller coaster at times, the Big 12, but they are certainly a team that can make some noise and who knows, maybe even get to the college football playoff. They were the first team out and win the rankings that came out on Tuesday. Miami at 14, Vanderbilt at 15, Texas at 16. Again, do I think that the committee will give them a shot to get in if they were to upset A&M? Probably, depending on what happens with a USC or a Michigan, a 2-loss team out of the Big Ten. That, to me, is the discussion on whether a 2-loss Big Ten team gets in rather than a 3-loss SEC team. We'll see how it plays out. I was not impressed by Georgia Tech in their recent game against Boston College. 1-win Boston College, and you survived by the skin of your teeth. And nobody exactly look at the ACC as a gauntlet right now. They've got one team in, and that's just by virtue of having a conference leader in Miami. Michigan at number 18. Again, I am very, very excited to see the game next week. Michigan surviving at the gun at Wrigley Field last week against Northwestern. My Vols at 19, huge game against Tim's Gators today. We'll talk about that in the Vol View in just a second. Virginia at number 20 on their bye. We'll see if they finish 10-2 and keep themselves in playoff contention. Rounding out the top 25, I've got Houston at number 21, Illinois. Shout out to Luke Altmaier. Shout out to Brett Bielema for kind of getting this team back on track and having a respectable season. Tulane at number 23. They've had some impressive wins. I liked what I saw from them against the team that I thought was going to be the group of 5 team in the playoff. Memphis, great time, big time performance for them. Still plenty of teams in that group of 5 mix. Tulane, Navy, James Madison, who you see I have at number 25, Arizona State in between them at number 24. North Texas potentially. A lot of teams that we kind of look at and we say, as I put all this back on screen, a lot of teams we look at and say, who's going to be the team that gets absolutely, dog walked by Oregon or Georgia or one of these, true blue college football playoff contenders. That game could get ugly very, very quickly. But regardless, it is now time for the Vol View with yours truly, Bryson Carver. And, it's wow. I've said it the last few weeks, and I will repeat it on this show today. And my 2 co-hosts off screen will probably roll their eyes at me, but you know what? I don't care. This is where my gut is at as a Vols fan. I am more nervous for tonight against the Florida Gators than next week against the Vanderbilt Commodores. And we will talk plenty about that next week. We'll talk Ohio State, Michigan, but Tennessee, Vanderbilt is without question going to be a topic of discussion. Why do I say that? Is because you got to realize my whole life as a Tennessee Vols fan, I went almost my entire life with the exception of 2003 and 2004, I guess, because that was the last win for Tennessee against the Gators before an 11-game Florida winning streak. Before Tennessee broke it in 2016, ended up getting another win in 22, and then last year in a game that ended up going to overtime. But the Tennessee Volunteers have not gone to Gainesville in the swamp and beaten the Florida Gators since I was 3 months old. 2003. It has been 10 straight W's for the Florida Gators at the swamp, and there have been some close calls. In particular, I'm sure this will bring up great memories for Tim. 2015. 13-point lead in the fourth quarter. Will Greer makes a play. Antonio Callaway, 4th and a mile, runs it in. Aaron Medley misses the game-winning field goal by that much, by 2 inches, to potentially win the game for Tennessee. 2 years after that, the Felipe Franks Hail Mary to Tyreek Cleveland to knock off Butch Jones's Volunteers. That was a fall to your knees and look up at the sky and just say, why me? Why does this have to happen to us each and every year in the swamp? If there were ever an opportunity to get a win against the Florida Gators in the swamp, in Gainesville, Florida, you would think it would be tonight. Tennessee at number 20 right now in the college football playoff rankings. Again, chances of them getting the playoff are basically nothing, but you got a chance to still play for a double-digit win season, the 3rd in 5 years for Josh Heupel. But you got to get this game, got to get Vanderbilt next week and get your bowl game. Florida 3-7, to their credit, showed some real fight. There were moments in that game against Ole Miss like, is Florida going to pull this off? Are they going to mess up Ole Miss this season? Are they going to nab their head coach basically in this game? And we look back as this is the moment Florida got Ole Miss, or Florida got Lane Kiffin. Regardless, impressive performance by Florida. Their defense has shown flashes. They've had some awful performances like against Kentucky, for example. I'd be lying to you if I said I wasn't nervous. And now I'm not going to spoil my cover crew pick, but let's just say it's not Tennessee minus 3.5. This game, again, maybe it's PTSD as a Vols fan. It scares me, man. I've seen this story too many times. Tennessee is the more talented team. They should go in. They got the better coach. They should win. And it doesn't materialize. I believe in Tennessee. I believe in Joey Aguilar. The big thing is don't make the critical mistakes. Joey has been really loose with the football in recent weeks. Had a couple of picks last week in Tennessee blowout win on homecoming against New Mexico State. Limit the turnovers, play, be able to run the football effectively, control the clock. And defense, Boo Carter, lost Boo Carter to the transfer portal. He didn't show up to the stadium. The Boo Carter experiment didn't work in the slightest for Tennessee. Wish him all the best in the future, but it was never going to work in Knoxville, especially with some of the disciplinary issues going back to the offseason. But if Tennessee can go into Florida, establish a run early, make the Gators play from behind, make DJ Lagway have to beat you his arm playing from behind, that bodes well for Tennessee. I am optimistic, certainly to a level where I believe Tennessee's the better team, and I think they should win. We'll get to the picks later. I've seen too much, though. I've seen too much pain as a Vols fan going to Gainesville. to say, oh, please, 3-7 Florida. There's a reason the Vegas line is where it's at. So that is it for this week's edition of the Vol View. When we come back here on the Saturday Morning Tailgate, we'll give you our cover crew picks. We will give you Gator City with Tim Barnard. He'll, I'm sure, retort the Vol View. And, of course, our game day predictions at the end of the show. Stay tuned to the Saturday Morning Tailgate. All right, welcome back to the Saturday Morning Tailgate. Got a ton of stuff still to go. I'm excited. I'm not going to lie to you. I'm very excited for Gator City, and I kind of tried to soften the blow, Tim, by reminding myself and putting it out there from the harsh memories of Tennessee going to the swamp. Again, 2015 and 17, just, oh, God, that still eats at me to this day. Your mic's muted, actually, unfortunately, Tim. What do you got to say?
There you go. I was on the field in 17, standing at the side of the end zone where the catch was made. So Tyree Cleveland turning his body to his left as the ball's coming in. I could see it like right in line. Like that is exactly where he was in the end zone where I was standing off to the side. Saw him. It felt like I was the first one out of all 90+ thousand to know that was a catch because like my line of sight was perfect. And watching Felipe just run around like that and just chuck it up there. Listen, Felipe, great kid. Got a cannon for an arm, but he wasn't the best at reading defenses. I can tell you that much. So it was a hell of a win. Great, just so much fun. Oh my God. To be on that field for that, it was a blast.
I remember there was a big, I can't imagine being on the field, especially what must have been insane. And, Tennessee had obviously beaten Georgia the year before in a Hail Mary, and then Tennessee got Tennessee'd. Although it wasn't like the traditional Hail Mary, which is a bunch of bodies going in the air. It was almost like a straight post route. Tennessee didn't have guys back.
Fun fact. That was the same exact play that we beat you with Antonio Callaway. He just went to a different receiver.
Thanks for the information, Tim.
Oh, yeah. Oh, no, absolutely. Instead of hitting Antonio Callaway underneath, he just went over the top.
That's God. That again. Both those games haunt me. Hopefully, we can make some good memories tonight. But let's go and get to our cover crew picks. We'll start with you, Tim. Who do you like today in your game of the week here?
Yeah, so I like USC money line again. I'm not saying that Oregon's a bad team. Part of me is picking this to be full transparency because I want to see chaos. I think it's going to be a hell of a lot more fun. But I do think that USC is a good team and that, they're going to be going to Outson Stadium. It's going to be a tough environment. No two ways about it. But if there is ever a time or a team to take Oregon down, I think it can be USC and Jaden Maiava there. So
I think it's going to be arguably the best. I think it's going to be arguably the best game in college football today. I think game day's there right now. So it's going to be one that without question shapes the playoff. Arthur, I will quote the great Jim Nance. It is a tradition unlike any other. Arthur Hurst, your cover crew pick. How am I not surprised?
Buddy, are you for real right now? How can I possibly go wrong? Now, again, here is my problem. Here's my issue with this, right? My issue is when we start blowing these guys out, I, for some reason, still see number 10, number 4, and number 17 in the freaking game. So listen, just do what you're supposed to do in the first half. Let Lincoln Key and Holtz and whoever else is on the second string come in and take care of the rest of the game. But dog, please.
So you don't want 32.5. You'd rather go the under then. You'd rather go.
No. Rutgers is getting blown out. We're at home.
Even with the backups? Are you sure about that?
Oh, yeah. No, because listen, here's the thing. The backups will not get in. That's what I know for a fact. The backups will not get in. Lincoln Key and Holtz will not come in unless we're down at the 4 or 3 and we need to, run in for a touchdown. Then Julian Sayin will be out. But this is a campaign. This is a Heisman campaign moment right now, and that's what it's been the last few weeks. But yeah, Rutgers, come on now. I'm sorry, no.
No. You got to get those reps for Michigan, though, right? You got to keep those guys in. Keep
those.
Okay.
Because no. I said it during Buckeyes breakfast. Dog, 17-4 should not be in the game in the fourth quarter.
Okay, fair enough.
At all. Hell, they shouldn't be in the game in the third.
My cover crew pick is going to shock you guys. Anchor down. Give me the Commodores -8.5 over the Kentucky Wildcats. Listen, Kentucky has had their moments. They almost beat Texas. They sorry, Tim, hammered the Florida Gators very, very recently in a game that evidently was my fault because I jinxed Florida going into that game. But listen, it is Diego Pavia's final start in Nashville. Are they still doing construction on that stadium? I don't even know if it's a real football.
Finally finished.
It did finally finish.
Yes,
okay, I didn't, because I'm used to seeing like forklifts and like dirt in the background. Like it's, I don't know, it don't belong in the SEC. But it's Diego Pavia's final college start at home. I think he's going to show up for the fans. And it just sets up a beauty. If whatever happens between Tennessee and Florida tonight, Tennessee's not making the playoff anyway. Oh, it sets up Tennessee to mess up Vandy's season next week. Oh, baby. Ooh. Give me Vanderbilt -8.5. They went comfortably over Texas. I've been waiting for next week for so long, but we got to get through Florida first. Speaking of Florida, it is now time for Gator City with Tim Barnard. And Tim, our teams are squaring off tonight.
Yes. They are, and it's going to be an interesting game for sure. I mean, listen, what do I have to say? We're the Florida Gators. We're in the swamp. No one gets out of the swamp alive except for the Florida Gators. All right? I mean, it's that simple. And listen, I came on here last week. I said that there was white smoke and that, phones will be blowing up on Sunday. Turns out that tweet, which, again, I kept saying over and over again, it wasn't me reporting this. I was hearing it on Twitter from reputable sources. So turns out didn't happen. No big deal. But it still seems that things are in place. I don't know what's going to happen with Lane Kiffin. And to be quite honest, as much as fun as this is and, as entertaining as it is to watch Lane Kiffin do this, he feels like that girl, that toxic girl that you really want, but then all of a sudden it just, you get her because she cheated on her ex, but then eventually she'll cheat on you, that type of thing. Like you lose her the way you get her. Like that's kind of how it feels with Lane Kiffin. I can see the guys below killing themselves laughing over that analogy. But all I can say is, of course, I want Lane Kiffin. I don't care. I want him to be a Florida Gator. I think it would be fun. I think it would make us the villain again, which is so much fun. Oh, my God. Talking trash, being able to sit here and just show off the Gator chomp, and have Lane Kiffin troll teams like Steve Spurrier used to do, as I said earlier on this show today, that you can't spell citrus without UT. Like, how great that is. Free Shoes University for FSU. I mean, come on now. And so it seems like it's could happen. It's going to happen. I mean, Ole Miss just threw out a statement today saying that there's going to be a press conference afterwards. Like, we're all going to find out after the Egg Bowl, which will be a week from today. Otherwise, I mean, listen, it's going to be it's going to be interesting. I hope we do get Lane Kiffin. I hope it is a done deal because not for nothing, after going through all of this, I really don't want to have to turn to our second option, second, third, fourth, whatever option, is left out there. I know that they brought in, or they were going to bring in John Summerall, but then all of a sudden, like a couple hours after that report came out, the meeting got canceled. So, again, what does that tell you? Does it tell you that maybe that was thrown out there as kind of like a, hey, Lane, come on, like let's get this deal done, because that's what Lane's been doing. Oh my gosh, with all the reports and everything that's been going on, it seems like we're kind of all in that similar boat. So, but for the most part, Florida's been pretty quiet on this whole thing, and LSU is just toxic on toxic on toxic. Like I don't know why anybody. Listen, the program itself, historic program. Not going to deny that. But where were they between the 70s and 90s before Nick Saban got there? They weren't as historic as you might think. So, otherwise, listen, I'm just going into tomorrow's game wanting to beat Tennessee because we're going to keep the streak alive, damn it. Like that's why. I think we absolutely can beat Tennessee. I think that, hey, just like Bryson wants to do to Vanderbilt, we can absolutely do to Tennessee, even though, they're not going to be going to the college football playoff regardless. Otherwise, it's always good to beat the VOLS because we swept Peyton Manning. Peyton Manning never beat us. And if Peyton Manning can't beat us, then Tennessee's a useless program. And Bryson thinks that friggin' Vanderbilt should be kicked out of the SEC. I don't know. I think Tennessee should too. Otherwise, listen, I just want to thank you for stopping by. This is Gator City. I am your host, Tim Barnett, and we are going to come back with our game day picks next. So stay tuned.
All right, welcome back to the Saturday Morning Tailgate, and I am just, I'm deeply offended by Tim Barnard wanting to kick the balls out of the SEC. I'm just
here to offend.
I
pull no punches. I don't care about your feelings.
Get out of here. Who's 3-7 now? Who's 3-7?
Hey, I don't care. I've told you for a long time that we've sucked.
That's true. You accept. At least you're objective. You accepted your fate a long time ago. All right, let's get into our game day picks. This is our favorite segment we do at the end of every show. Let's get right into it. Starting with Arthur Hurst's favorite team, the Ohio State Buckeyes, who are hosting Rutgers today. Tim, who are you going with in this one?
Ohio State.
100%. Arthur, do I even need to ask?
Rutgers is a fake team. Come on.
That part. Ohio State clean sweep. We don't even need to go from there. Okay, Kentucky taking on Vanderbilt on the road. This was my cover crew pick. Tim, who do you like in this spot?
Anchor down, baby. Give me Vandy.
Arthur?
Anchor down.
I won't just to mess it
you
up.
already said it. It's cool.
I've already said it.
Said it.
I didn't want to make it 3 in a row. That would have felt like just the three musketeers pulling for Vanderbilt. No, we're not going to do that. I hope they cover. That's all I care about. That's
Diego Pavai, all for one and one for all.
Jeez.
Anchor down.
Please win today. Please win today so that we can see Tennessee screw up their season next week and end all that trash talk that Pavia was throwing our way. Regardless, Arkansas going on the road to take on Texas. We just automatically assume this is a win for Texas, correct, Tim?
Oh, absolutely. They're going to rebound after getting their doors blown off. And again, Steve Sarkisian, he prepped us all for this when he talked earlier about a 3-loss SEC team making the college football playoff. So
it'll be 4.
Yeah, they're not going to lose this week.
Can you imagine if they did though? How funny that would
be wild.
Hilarious,
bro.
Arthur, you've been saying 4 losses. They get 4 losses today or next week?
Nah, they get 4 losses next week. Nah, they'll beat Arkansas. They'll beat Arkansas.
I agree. Clean sweep. Texas should win this game, especially at home. Next up, we've got a matchup of the Big 12. TCU on the road taking on the Houston Cougars, who probably not going to make the playoff, but it may be an outside chance looking in. Who you like in this spot, Tim?
Yeah, I like Houston. I mean, listen, TCU has never recovered after getting their asses handed them by Georgia. So give me the Cougars.
Haven't been in the same program since. How do you feel about this one, Arthur?
Houston.
I agree. Clean sweep. Houston across the board. They should get the W here. Big matchup in the SEC. Excuse me. Missouri on the road in Norman against Oklahoma. We all put Missouri in our top 25s, but they've beaten who this season? They can make a statement today against Norman and Oklahoma season. Do you think that'll happen today, Tim?
I think it would be fun to see Missouri get the win, but as the great Jim Ross says, boomer sooner. What
about you, Arthur?
Oklahoma.
I've also got Oklahoma. Again, they've got arguably the best defense in the entire SEC. They've got a legit case for that. They've dominated teams like my VOLS, like Alabama recently, both on the road. So they've shown ability to win the road. It's just a matter of whether they can win at home in Norman and put themselves a spot. Get a win against LSU next week, and you're in the playoff as a 10-2 team. Up next, you got Pitt on the road against Georgia Tech. Who do you like in this one, Tim?
Oh, give me the Yellow Jackets. Think Pitt stands a chance, please. They were a fake top 25 team last week.
You agree, Arthur?
All the way.
Georgia Tech.
I know it says not a lot of drama in these picks, but this is the precursor to next week when rivalry week and we got all these games going on. But there's a lot of homecoming going on across college football, and this might as well be a homecoming game for Georgia Tech. That's how little all of us think of Pitt, especially in Atlanta. Georgia Tech's looking to try and get back-to-back wins and beat Georgia next week. BYU on the road against Cincinnati. Who do you like here, Tim?
And this is where I'm going the upset. I'm taking Cincinnati. I think that they're going to rebound. I think that they're, having BYU travel out east, it's not going to be easy. And I'm taking the Bearcats in this one. Kelsey.
there you go. I mean, and that would end BYU season like that they're done if they lose this game against Cincinnati. Do you think that also materializes, Arthur?
I think they'll beat Cincinnati. I think BYU would come out on top. There's too much at stake. Like you said, their season's done if they lose this game.
I think they know they control their own destiny. If they win the Big 12 championship game against presumably Texas Tech, they're in the playoffs. So I think they understand that and they get the win.
Imagine if we get that rematch between them and Texas Tech.
That's because Big 12 championship game, if I'm not mistaken, that's the noon game, and then SEC's at 4:00, and then Big 10 is that night. So that'd be like a good sort of appetizer for the rest of the action that we get.
Don't forget too that Texas Tech annihilated BYU.
Yep.
It was not they barely won. No. Texas Tech owned that ass. BTA, right, Arthur?
That's right. That's our trio, right? BTA.
They probed them. They probed
them.
I have lost control of the show, America. I've lost control.
They took it like a champ.
God. Up next in the Big Ten, USC against Oregon. This is your money line pick, Tim. So I assume you like USC here.
I'm taking the Trojans. Yeah, let's go.
Do you agree, Arthur?
The Oregon Ducks, man, they there's a lot that can happen. I'm taking the Oregon Ducks, though. Okay.
The fact that Oregon's in Autzen, I'll be honest, if this was in the Coliseum, I think I'd take USC, but there's certain stadiums in college football that give you true, legitimate home field advantage, and Autzen Stadium is absolutely one of them. That place can get crazy loud in the Pacific Northwest. Give me the Ducks to win this game. And so last game, we're going to do it a little bit differently, obviously. Tennessee going on the road to take on Florida. We're going to have Arthur make his pick, and then it's just going to be me and Tim on the screen. So, Arthur, get your pick and get out of here, all right?
I got Tennessee. I'll see y'all.
I hope that's good news. And so that brings, of course, myself and Tim Barnard into the mix. And Tim, we knew that this day was coming. We knew that later this year, this would be an opportunity. Before we even make our picks, not like people are exactly guessing who we're going with here. The question is, we had a bet about a few weeks ago about what we could do depending on this game, because it's the last time Tennessee and Florida are playing each other annually. So how about I propose that a Tennessee Volunteers win equals you having to sing the main version of Rocky Top on this show next week. A Gators win. I do the Gator chomp for 5 minutes straight. What do you say?
I agree to it.
Done.
Well, we're doing it again.
Done. Let's do it. Let's all the money on the line. I'm going to ask this question because I have to. Tim, who are you picking to win this game?
Right there.
Okay.
I wish that was a helmet I could put on. It's got a base on it, which sucks, but otherwise.
Listen, you got Florida in this spot. I would be lying to you if I said I wasn't really, really nervous in front of tonight. If I would love to come into the spot.
You absolutely should be nervous. I mean, there's no two ways about that. Like, listen, I'm not saying that you can't beat us, but at the same time, you guys were riding high 2 years ago with Joe Milton as your quarterback, and all my friends were nervous as hell. I was the only one who was cool, calm, and collected, being like, guys, really? Have you seen Tennessee play? We're going to kick that ass. And we did. Despite Billy Napier.
If we lose this game in the Swamp, we are officially cursed in that stadium. I'm convinced of it. If we can't beat y'all at your absolute lowest. I mean, but this can be an opportunity, maybe not to reverse it entirely because y'all are in your interim coach. You're not bowl eligible, kicking a man when he's down. But still, it would make you feel a little bit better going into 2027, right? When presumably both programs are back on the come up. But give me the Volunteers to win this game over the Florida Gators tonight. And that is it for this week's edition of the Saturday Morning Tailgate. We're going to go out of here with this lower third graphic because, Arthur, you're on the right side of history. You're going to be on the right side of history. It's all said and done. We're going to have a fun episode next week for Rivalry Week, everything going on. I cannot wait.
You do the Gator chop.
Oh, I can't. Hearing you sing Rocky Top in that classic Boston accent is going to be it's Arthur. I can't wait, Arthur. Can you not wait for this?
Hey, whatever happens is going to be funny. That's all I know. It's going to be hilarious.
Oh my God, I can't wait. It's going to be a blast for the show. And we will see you guys next week. We will be, hopefully we will be live on the show. I'm pretty sure we will be next week, 10 a.m. Eastern, 7 a.m. Pacific time, live on the Grit Network via YouTube and via X. Have a great weekend. Enjoy some college football. We will see you guys next week. Go freaking Big Orange. God bless y'all.